Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Weekend in, weekend out, Motorsport Australia officials are making waves. From waving flags, waving cars through pit lane, or responding to a wave for help. Wave hello to new lifelong friends. Who knows, you might just make waves around the world. Ride the first wave. Search Motorsport Australia officials today.
Hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another round of your Monday night racing action. Formula Racing Group brings you the Formula 4 Esports Australian Challenge. And tonight, we're heading to Monterey. That's for WeatherTech Raceway, Laguna, Seca. This course is known worldwide. I don't know a racing fan that does not know about the sheer drop of the corkscrew. Ultimately, Portimao has been given the name the roller coaster in terms of racing tracks, but realistically, this place thoroughly deserves that name and probably has it within the United States of America. Well, Formula 4 racing action, and I can tell you I've driven the setup myself tonight just to get a little bit of background experience. It is loose, it is all over the place, and it's going to create some good racing. Times are exceptionally close up and down the order with lap times in and around the 123 range for quite a few drivers. And by the way, we had 38 drivers set a time yesterday. We had to eliminate 8 of them. One of them sitting in the commentary box for your racing pleasure. So don't worry about that, ladies and gents. Didn't make the split. Well, Dave Roberts, Laguna Seca, she's on the cards because she's a fun track to drive around, and the times are quite quick out there at the moment.
Little circuit, nice and hot. Good part of America, South Dakota, West Coast LA, sort of above LA, San Francisco. Great little place, nice temperature. And the circuit never used to have that infield. It used to join from turn 2 to turn 5 and be this super high speed lap, but about 30 years ago they changed that. Great little circuit, free to the iRacing community. There's no fee for downloading this track, so yeah, that means everybody can have a bit of fun, and there's certainly a pole turned out tonight. As Scott said, he managed to have a little go in pre-qualifying, got himself in the field, fairly well up the field. We won't go too far up, fairly well up the field, but he figured that he thought he could commentate and drive. I thought he could commentate and drive, but apparently he wasn't allowed to commentate and drive.
It is for everyone's benefit that I'm not allowed to commentate and drive.
I would spend the whole night just putting crap on him.
Well, I can tell you, ladies and gentlemen, she's a spicy little setup to drive. Yeah, for this one, you're going to see 4 laps worth of qualifying, which is currently underway. We've got about a minute left on the qualifying server before I'll have our grid set for the sport racing format. And I can tell you there's already been some changes up in the qualifying orders. The drivers who should be at the top and were from pre-qualifying aren't at the top, and they're going to have to come through the field. That is going to be worthwhile watching. For the moment, though, Daniel McCrowan does lead the championship from Ian Zhu, although Ian is not in attendance here tonight, so he is going to get a full opportunity to put points over him. Could he lock up the championship? Well, you'll just have to sit around and watch. Ocean has driven a phenomenal season thus far and continues to set really strong times up at the pointy end of things. Jim Stoddart has been reasonably quick as well, only 2 points off of Ocean. James Raymaker's again going to be quick from Leo Dreyer, Chris Barnes, Kane Kugamiya, Nathan Favero and Wiley Blair are going to be around out your top 10 in terms of your championship standings. And by the way, a 4-way tie on 32 points. Who will leave tonight on top out of Barnes, Kugamiya, Favero and Blair? That'll be one worth keeping an eye on a little bit further back. And with 10 seconds left in terms of the qualifying times, I can see there's no one out on track at the moment. So we do have all of our qualifying times in the books, ladies and gents. So 30 degrees out on the track, fine and sunny here in Monterey. Reasonable wind speeds as well. It's not blowing and gusting around. It's only about 12 to 13 kilometers an hour. Nice and low, or in the middle in terms of the weather as it currently stands at the circuit. But your qualifying order, well, it's not the drivers who set the qualifying times yesterday during pre-qualifying. It is Mason Harvey who manages to stick it into the 1 minute 21s. 5 thousandths of a second back. Chuck Humphreys is going to join him on row number 1. Very tiny gap as well, back to Aiden Schweikert. He's going to round out on row number 2. Ocean Coliangelo could be looking to put some points forward, perhaps get close to Angie for that championship second spot. Aiden Cale and Matt Morris are going to take out row number 3 for the new to Vermilion Esports driver of Cale, mid-season switch this year, off alongside of Matt Morris. Daniel McCrowan, championship leader, on the 4th row of the grid, a lot further back than he would have liked. Willie Blair will be off to his outside. Tyson Hanman was struggling with this circuit yesterday in pre-qualifying. Josh Marsh will line up alongside of him. I tell you, a driver that did really well in pre-qualifying yesterday was actually a touch faster than this yesterday. 1:22.399 for Leo Dreyer sets him on row number 6 alongside of Jim Stoddart. Both of those guys a little bit higher up the championship. Raymakers and Muddle are going to make up row number 7 from the next row on the grid, which will be Jason Depp and Tyler Blackburn. We'll roll it back one more row to Chris Barnes and Reese Rowland on the 9th row of the grid. Rounding out our top 20. Nathan Favero and Simon Major are going to round out our top 20. Ashley Cutchy is a little bit deeper in the field. Ben Ryder will be looking at that qualifying time and going, there was probably a fair bit more in that. He's going to start out of 22nd spot. Florentino Aguilera has driven his way through the field every week, 23rd. Lee Peckham alongside of him. Adrian Gretsch and Steve Casitas all the way back in 25th and 26th. Couple cars left to go. Ronald Long from Kyle Hazel and 27th and 28th. And our final driver in the field will be Jimmy Peacock. And that is going to round out our 29 drivers here tonight. Looks like we are missing one from the pre-qualifying standing. So, with just about 5 seconds left before we go green flag racing, welcome to Monterey. Welcome to one of the circuits that IndyCar races at, that IMSA races at, and now that F4 Australia is going racing up for the Esports Championship. Lights are going to go out from the front end of the grid. Not a great jump from Harvey. It's going to be Jack Humphreys who's going to go the long way round out on the outside. Schweikert's looking for to try and jump through as well. Coliangelo's going to try and line him up as well. They're all going to try and get around Humphreys and Harvey at the front end of things. 3 wide on the run down to the end. Ready hairpin. Keep the tyres underneath you. Low grip point on the circuit. Very easy to lose the rear. It looks like the bulk of the field has got through turn 1, lap 1, not too bad, and then it's off down to turn number 3. In at 4th gear, get the car settled underneath you. Cold tyres as the Formula 4s race their way through the first sector, under the Firestone Bridge, and on their way down to turn 5 for the first lap. And one of the trickiest spots on the track here, Dave, turn 6, that kink. Oh, I hate that corner.
I like that corner. The bit I don't like is the one they're coming up to, Scott. This fast left-hander, it's so easy to get it wrong. Keep that inside next to the area, in the fence on the outside. But, yeah, great little start from the 4 guys out the front. I think that Matt Morris has jumped Ocean there in that opening few corners. But Matt Morris is a guy to watch. He was the quickest pre-qualifier, so I think Matt's got plenty of speed here tonight. And he's the 4th car there, that I think it's red, is it? Red car there, yes, the 4th car there, and he's more than capable of taking himself up to the front of this field.
He's already picked up a number of spots on lap number 1. We're looking at a few cars from the rear end of the field. The Nero-powered machine, Matt Morris, is going to try and cut his way through. A little bit of a gap forming in behind him. He's already broken the so it's Ocean who's lost spots. Got a good getaway from the second row to Ocean on lap number 1, but it was the aggression from Morris, maybe a little bit of a mistake, a little bit of a bobble. Keeping the car underneath you down here through the Andretti hairpin, not easy to do, and lap 1 in the books. Reminder, 20 minutes in terms of racing as well here tonight, and you should have enough fuel in the tank it is some major incident, which is why he was facing the wrong direction on the rear of the field, and it's a touch on the way into the corkscrew. Difficult to get through there multiple wide, and you can see why he's come unstuck.
Yeah, look at this as well. Young Aiden Schweiker, one of our real young guns there, up in the top 3. But Daniel McCrowan, who's been quickest in almost every practice session, back there in 7th place. So he's probably the guy who's got the most race speed or track speed out there. Be interested to see what he can do over the course of the race. Not a long race, 20 minutes. He's got to make his moves early. He's got to make it fast. There's somebody up in the background as well as back there.
I think it's Leo Dreyer.
That is Reese Rolland or
at least Leo Dreyer definitely had Josh Marsh, who's going to go around, unfortunately. It was Dreyer who was actually on the radio saying there was something happened there as well. So Dreyer might have damage to the front end of his car as well. Worthwhile keeping an eye on whether or not he'll slowly drift back towards the pointy end. No, we continue to watch. Mason Harvey's just at a fastest lap time. This is the run through the corkscrew. So tight in there.
A little bit of a touch.
He's just going to sit there and wait. Yeah, he got off nice and quickly. Spotted the gap.
That was good.
Yep.
That's the advantage of watching your relative and knowing when there's a hole in the traffic and just going for it and trusting the information you have. And I thought you did a really good job there, Scott.
Yeah, I agree with that one. So, settle ourselves down in. It's generally considered one of the tracks that is very, very difficult to overtake on. Formula 4 is all narrow enough that it might present an opportunity. Schweiker got attacked on lap number 2 at the corkscrew. Matt Morris tried to send something, and it's going to be a huge mistake just in behind. He might have heard the tyres sliding. Schweiker, they get loose as the cars get light. They're not generating enough downforce to be sucked to the floor like an Indy car might. And big old mistake for Schweiker. Now it's going to be a little bit of a wriggle around for Mason Harvey. So your pole sitter, who lost it on the run down to turn number 1, he is struggling to keep the car underneath him. All the track on the exit of the final corner as well. Got to use the AstroTurf out there if you're looking for a little bit of speed. And I think that might have been, it wasn't Aiden Cale, I think it might have been Tyson Hammer. Indeed, it was Tyson Hammer who picked up a little bit of stand out of the final corner.
That second little pack there of Ocean, Colangelo, Aiden Cale and Daniel McCrowan, they're not being dropped. They're staying there. There's a little gap between Ocean and Matt Morris, but that can close in a second. So I think there's still 7 cars in this race for the win.
But just trying to keep an eye on who's actually been making the moves through the field. Not a lot of places being swapped. Probably one of the biggest movers at the moment is Jason Depp a little bit further down, who's +3 spots. There's a few cars that are plus a couple. Ashley Cutchy's +5 at the moment. And +6 I'm seeing for Adrian Gretsch as well. Of course, Aguilera has made moves in the opening couple laps. Always runs a clean race as Aguilera. Cuts his way through the field. Just watching Ben Ryder. He is struggling here tonight. I don't know what it is, but ever since we saw him in the Formula 4 last season, he was very, very quick, and Kane was incredibly quick in the Formula 4 as well this season, but he just hasn't taken to the machinery that's got a little bit extra downforce on it.
Yeah, it can be circuit relevant too. Here we go, side by side into the corkscrew is never a great idea. But I'm noticing there also, Scott, Ocean Colangelo, she's set the fastest lap so far, so she's certainly got some pace underneath.
Yeah, still trying to set sail and see if she can't track down the guys up ahead of her. Big problem is she just needs to close just a fraction, and then from there she'll be in the draft and she will be quicker than the guys up ahead. McCrowan gets down the inside of Aiden Cale, gets the job done. So mistake for Cale, sets up the opportunity. McCrowan goes and picks one off. Moves one spot further forward. Critical for McCrowan tonight, because if he gets a strong finish, this could be enough to just lock in that sport championship.
Well, it's a fair way to go yet. Not locking anybody in quite yet, unless the points say so. But very deep down the inside, very wide, out in the dirt. So McCrowan here, quickly jumping up on the back of Angelo. That's Matt Morris round in the circle.
Yeah, Matt Morris tried to set it up the inside of the corkscrew. It's where he's had pace on Schweiker the last couple laps, and unfortunately, it's also where one of the most dangerous spots on the track with this car, because the rear end just gets away from you so quick. It's not glued in. coming with a little bit too much speed. I guess, get the feeling that's what he's going to do. A little bit of a too tight entry. Pulls the trigger late. Yeah, he's in deep.
Yep. Probably went deeper than he needed to because he had position on the road down the inside. He probably could have braked a little earlier and just held his line. But you know, hindsight's 20/20, isn't it, Scott? And you know, mate, nobody would know more about being loose up there than you, would they?
It's not fun, I'll tell you that much. It was a lot of time trying to get the lap to lock in yesterday. It was very, very difficult to pull off. Coliangelo's still trying to make some ground. Has managed to put a little bit of time over McCrone in the meantime as well. Rainmakers looks like he's going backwards at the moment. Unfortunately for him, and this will tell us why. Run down at turn number 1. If you get it in a little bit deep here, the rear end will pivot around on you. Manages to pull it up without making contact with anyone. That's the big key. Lost it on his own, but didn't take anyone with him.
Paddy was having a bit of a panic in the cockpit for a moment there, but was good. Nobody collected him, didn't affect anybody else's race. It's just himself, and he's only got himself to blame. But be interesting to see here how quick McCrone can close that sort of half a second gap to Colangelo, and whether he can. If he's got the pace, he's had the pace all week. So can he close that gap? It looks like he has. He's right on the back of us straight away.
Yeah, about a tenth of a second out most of the sectors around that last lap. 0.3 of a second was the fastest car on that most recent lap. Still going to try and get it. Put it up and oh my word! Ooh. Chris Barnes is parked upside down out of the final corner, and I get the feeling, well, that might close the gap.
The first safety car of the season, Scott.
And you can see it sitting in the pit lane in the background of that shot too. So what's going on here for Chris Barnes? Running the final corner. A little bit of a check-up up ahead.
Oh, that was just unfortunate. That was awkward, clumsy, and unfortunate.
Indeed it was. And
we have a safety car. First one of the season. 3 races in before we get a safety car. How good's that?
Just keeping half an eye on as well. Looks like there's a couple cars been down the lane. Looks like we've got everyone still in the lead lap as well, so it should be nice and quick, this safety car.
And none of these guys need to dive for the pits because there's enough fuel to run the race in sport.
You can see everyone wants to cool their tyres off, so they're really taking the energy out of these cars at the moment. There's a few diving into the lane in the background. I wonder whether or not that might be for damage.
Either damage or they're thinking they can put a set of tyres on and maybe get a jump on the field. You know, not quite sure why you'd jump in the lane in sport.
Matt Morris is going to jump into the lane. It looks like it's...
Well, I imagine that's for damage after his incident, wouldn't you?
Yeah, but he was only in the box. Only 1.3 seconds, so it looks like it was just a fast repair use. A couple of cars that were there. We're going to go to the rear end of the field, so if that's the case, they may as well grab a set of tyres though as well.
Well, we can all sit down and breathe for a second. It was fairly hectic in the front there. There was a bit of a diving and striving, trying to make some positions there, but pretty hard, like I said, Scott, pretty hard place to pass on. And I'm seeing there Mason Harvey. He must be out of the racecraft sort of stable in Perth there, running the same livery as Chris and young Chase do in the Pro Series. So I imagine that's I'm guessing it's a sort of quasi racecraft factory entry. So there we go. New to the series, doing a great job up there in P2.
So lap cars have now cleared themselves from the field, which was just Chris Barnes after towing himself back. So We are 11 minutes and 50 seconds through this one, so about 12 minutes. We might have ourselves an opportunity, about a 6 or 7 minute race left. Safety car's about to pull away, so we're going to be going green flag.
Gone.
Yeah, here in just a few moments. So Jack Humphries has control.
I'm going to compliment the guys here at FRG, not just me. I just talk, I don't do much. But the guys at FRG and in race control and locking in the safety car, they do a really, really good job of managing this restart procedure, better than anybody, any other league I've ever done.
Well, it's back in the hands of Jack Humphries. We're going to have 7.5 minutes to go on this one. He goes before the final corner just because he wants to surprise them all just a little bit. Doesn't want to go at the last possible moment. And for Jack Humphries, launch once again up the pointy end of things. This will bring McCrowan back into it. This will bring Ocean Colangelo back into it. They were just off the back of the pack under those last set of green flag conditions. Now they'll get an opportunity to get a little bit of it slow. The run in at number 1. Humphries takes a little bit of a wider entry. He's going to try and cut it back. And it protects this lead for now, but Mason Harvey is there and banging on the door. And how about Schweikert right up and underneath the rear wing of Harvey as well? So all of a sudden, what was a little bit of a spaced out front three closes right up once again. None of them quite able to get close enough to throw the move at the moment, but if they can stay where they are, anything could happen towards the tail end of this lap.
All of them struggling a little bit for front grip there. The tyres are cooled off, and they just don't have that full grip on the front end of the car. So a little bit of understeer, and then you get up under the tail of the car in front. You lose a little bit of aero as well. Be very, very careful in these next lap or so.
Oh, Schweiker just had a huge moment coming down through the corkscrew. Colangelo's going to get to his inside as they get down to Rainy Curve. Doesn't quite manage to pull it off, but they go 2 by 2 as they cut their way through here. Kale was looking back at McCrowan. Curve once again. Another big old moment. Here comes Kale, who's going to slide it down the inside. McCrowan's been put on the outside and at risk. Colangelo's come away with a spot. Schweiker to the outside. Gets drive off the final corner. Who's going to get the run on the way down to turn number 1? Because we're 2 by 2. McCrowan and Kale are going side by side as well. And Hanma, all he can do is sit back and watch us. Here we go, run down to turn number 1. Deep on the outside from McCrowan, trying to run it the long way round. The inside is quicker, but it's also going to be slower out the other side. Kale gets the spot away. Colangelo gets the spot as well. Colangelo's going to get tacked back once more, and now Kale is going to have a go. Kale gets Colangelo, bounces up and over, going to take out, oh no, he's taking out McCrowan as well.
Oh dear, that was all a bit awkward and all a bit ugly.
And that is McCrowan done for the day too.
And Jason Dent looks like he's carrying a bit of damage there as well. Ooh, not good.
So many cars caught up in that one. And it all
that was a big moment. There we go.
From that moment from Schweiker, that's what kicked it all off.
That was unfortunate for Ocean. She had a good position on the road, but she just sort of went wide and didn't get the exit out of turn 1, and that sort of let Schweikert back up the inside, and legitimately he's really pushed it. Look here, she hasn't got the run out of the corner. See, Schweikert's back up the inside, and he's got track position to turn in, and then, oh, there we go, nothing to do with Schweikert, but that, she was sort of tagged by, oh dear, McCrowan said I lost a wheel, I've got a wheel, I lost a wheel.
Yeah, well, I mean, the difficult spot was that Schweiker got overtaken, but he was still there. Ocean could have covered it across to the inside, squeezed him narrow, but didn't think that she needed to. And, well, sometimes you just got to cover that line, and ultimately, it all comes away as a result of that. Fighting a little bit deeper back in the pack. Cannot believe that all exploded in just a few moments. 4 minutes now on the clock. Humphries has control of the race. It'll be Humphries from Harvey. And Schweikert has continued on, sits third on the road.
Hanman is up into 3rd place. 4th place. Reyes in 5th, Willie Blair in 6th. So that's a bit of a few people that sort of got a bit of an advantage out of that little incident we had there.
And everyone will try and settle themselves down. A huge moment for Tyson Hanma there as we rode on board with him as well. Leo Trey is going to take the opportunity to get a touch closer. Willie Blair's managed to survive the night thus far.
Tyson's looking a bit serious behind the wheel there, do you think, Scott?
Yeah, certainly getting the head down. There's not much time left in this one. 3 minutes and 5 seconds on the clock as it currently stands.
And I've got to say, Jack Humphries has done a wonderful job. He's sort of led from the front. He's kept the door shut, and he's been under pressure all the way, as we're seeing now. But he's done a really good job of just keeping that door shut and saying, you know, doing enough and not making a mistake. Touch wood, sorry, Jack. But not making a mistake, staying on line, staying on pace, and really not showing an opportunity to Mason Harvey at all.
There's nothing between them back in qualifying as well. 121.936 from Harvey, took pole position by 6,000ths of a second on that front row. It was all the run down to turn number 1. Humphries had to be aggressive for a great getaway, and it's sort of just been a controlled race from there. Keep our eyes though on Dreyer and Hanma. There's probably the next little battle on the road, and Blair is trying to go with these guys as well. Get the feeling we throw it over to the pro guys in about 10 minutes or so that it's going to be a little bit same sort of deal. It will be a pit stop, of course, but very, very difficult to get the overtake done down here. It does require a mistake, and you've got to park it down the inside.
The pit stop here is interesting, Scott, because you've got such a long pit exit. You can see it there on the left-hand side. Long pit exit, a U-turn, the end of it, and a sort of awkward, almost awkward rejoin online it can be. And that pit stop can make a lot of difference here, how well you manage your in and out of the pit.
Very, very important to do that as well. Tyler Blackburn dealing with some issues at the moment. Blinking car just in front of him. By the way, Matt Morris has driven his way back inside the top 10. Worthwhile noting.
Excellent. That was a very unfortunate mistake by Matt. He's been really quick this week, and it's great to see Matt back at the front of the field. Long-term campaigner in FRG, and a really good competitor, and it's good to see him at the front again.
So still battling away, these two at the front. Update on the incident that happened. 10-second penalty for Aiden Kale, which was the car that got into Ocean, and decided that one a little bit. It's going to have championship implications here tonight as well. We're just talking about an issue, and how it was unfortunately not in attendance here tonight. White flag is going to come out as well. One more lap left in this one.
Yeah, I think he apparently mixed up the pre-qualifying time because of daylight savings, which is very unfortunate. But you know, it was publicised, and you know, not just about racing on track. You've got to have all your ducks in a row as well.
Just keeping an eye on Tyler Blackburn and Josh Marshall going toe-to-toe at the moment. Just exchange positions out of turn 1.
So, Scott, can I ask, do you wish you were out there, buddy?
I would have been right when that kerfuffle happened, so probably for the best.
Beauty. I could have had loads of fun out of that.
Look, one of the biggest things I noticed immediately after jumping back this sim after two months out of it was the consistency wasn't there. That was the biggest factor. I was very worried he was going to put somebody off the road. So, yeah, look, either way, I don't like this racetrack. And
no, I don't. It's funny, I don't like this racetrack either, but for some reason I seem to always go well here. Whenever we go here, I get a great result. But I hate the place.
I can tell you Daniel McCrowan doesn't like this place either, so either way, his results have reflected that here tonight. Race winner, he's going to come out of the final corner to the line for Jack Humphries. It's a big old tick in the book. Takes it away from Mason Harvey. Aiden Schweikert is going to come home in third. Adma home in fourth from Leo Dreyer, Wiley Blair. Jim Stoddart crosses the line in front of Ben Ryder, and Matt Morris drives all the way back to ninth after pinning under that safety car as well. A little battle on the run of the line for 13th spot. Simon Major drove it back through from the rear of the field. Stephen Casillas on the battle to the line as well.
A bit tight there.
Was, I believe, and I believe it was Jason Depp who was extremely tight in the line. 0.03 of a second in that battle pack. So, most of the field has now come home, just watching the last couple of cars up their way across the line. You're going to feel sorry for a couple of cars. One of those, Daniel McCrowan,
And Ocean Colangelo as well. I've got to feel sorry for her. She did a great job tonight. Unfortunately, her and Daniel both taking a bit of pain. But hey, that's motor racing, isn't it?
There's a penalty late for Ashley Cutchy for a 10-second penalty as well. So that will decide that one. Ladies and gentlemen, podium and results now in the books for your sport class here tonight. And they just mentioned that there is a few post-race penalties potentially to come. Keep an eye on the Discord. Race controller got a busy old job on their hand, but the confirmation of the results, 0.6 of a second, the race win, Jack Humphries from Mason Hyvey. Schweikert got through cleanly in that one, had to get aggressive with Ocean Colangelo and did so to his benefit. Hanma survived all of the drama ahead of him for fourth spot. Dreyer would follow him home, and Willie Blair would have a go late on in the race as well. Jim Stoddart from Ben Ryder. Ben got back to 8th spot after not looking comfortable. He was outside the 20s at one point as well for Ben Ryder. Drove his way back through. As did Matt Morris inside the 10. And James Raymakers to round us out. Outside the 10, Tyler Blackburn from Josh Marsh, Lindsay Muddle, Simon Major, Ocean Colangelo recovered to 15th. Stephen Casitas, Jason Depp, Reese Roland, Ashley Cutchy, Nathan Favero back in 20th spot. He did not put points on the board here tonight. That was a huge opportunity to grab some for him. Kyle Hazel, Lee Peckham, Chris Barnes, and Adrian Gretsch, and Daniel McCrone. Most of those guys all with dramas towards the tail end. Guys off the lead lap, Jimmy Peacock and Florentino Aguilera, Kale and Ronald Long with 2 retirements after that incident 5 laps from the end. And I can tell you we've just got Jack Humphries and Mason Harvey who've just dropped by for a chat, so we'll quickly have a chat with tonight's race winner for the sport drivers. Jack, look, qualifying was decided by a couple of thousandths of a second, but it was all down that run down to turn number 1. Got a great getaway. Mate, I might be joining you on the grid in a few weeks. What's the secret? Need to start studying.
No, I'm not really sure. This is my first race back after a couple of months. Made mistakes in quali, which cost me pole, but it was crazy how close it was.
In terms of things, though, once you got the lead at Laguna Seca, it's just about locking in and just driving smoothly and consistently. Very, very difficult for somebody to get the job done, but you locked in. I was just saying, I've just had 2 months out of the sim myself, mate. The biggest thing I was struggling with was the regular mistakes, and you were able to just lock in and get it all done tonight.
Yeah, I haven't taken much of a break. I've just been playing F1 more, so the handling I was getting used to during the race. But yeah, I was nervous probably the last 5 minutes after that safety car. That's when I got a bit more nervous.
In terms of things, mate, tonight, really, really congratulations on the result here. Who would you like to give a shout out and thank you to?
I'd like to give a thank you to my dad. He's probably watching right now. He watches all my races, so thanks to him. And that's really it.
Well, congratulations, mate. Congratulations on the race win. Go and enjoy and celebrate with the family.
Thank you.
Take one step further back down our podium and talk to a driver that gets behind the wheel of Aussie racing cars who gets an opportunity tonight. Joins us from the sim racing arena. Mason stuck it on pole, just couldn't quite get the launch in the run down to turn number 1, and then there was just not an opportunity, unfortunately. Jack just gave you absolutely nothing tonight.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, Jack was pretty fast tonight, so yeah, credits to him. I haven't been on the sim for a good year and a half, so it's good to get back out there, and I'm enjoying it. Been doing some laps with Chris and Chase. So yeah, hopefully we can go one better next week, and yeah, something to build on this week was real positive. So yeah.
Mate, how are you enjoying it being back on the sim? Obviously, big break like that. Obviously, the first thing that comes in is not only just finding the markers, finding the feel for everything, but it's getting back in. It's the racecraft, it's consistency. There's so many little bits and pieces.
Yeah, 100%. I've done probably 20 laps or so before tonight, just trying to get used to the car. I've never driven an open wheel car on the sim before, so it was a bit of a learning curve. And then in the race, I just struggled a little bit with grip on the car, just being behind Jack so close the whole race. So things to work on next week. Just maybe do some laps with some of the other boys and get up behind them and learn what it's like in the race mode.
Mate, in terms of things here tonight, we transition away from Laguna Seca. I believe we're off to Cadwell Park next time out. Tiny little British circuit. That is going to be a huge challenge. That's a brand new one to iRacing. The good news is nobody else have got laps there before you did, so...
Yeah, cool. Yeah, well, I'll have to jump on there and do some laps. So yeah, looking forward to the next one.
Hey, congratulations on the night and the results here tonight. Who would you like to give a thank you to?
Big thanks to Chase and Chris for getting me up to speed and doing some laps with them. So yeah, looking forward to doing some more laps with them and moving up and hopefully going up to the next one. Cheers.
All right, mate. Congratulations, and we'll see you again next week.
Sweet, thank you.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, qualifying is underway from our pro splits, and we're going to just grab a 2-minute break just so we can reset, refresh, and get ready for our pro drivers. We'll be back with you in about 90 seconds or so.
It's motorsport, but not as you know it. Test yourself and your everyday road car. Safe, affordable, but most of all, fun. And all you need is your daily driver. Experience the thrill of a sprint day. Race against the clock at a hill climb. Or test your reflexes with an auto test. It takes just 3 simple steps to get started. Get on the start line. Search Motorsport Australia Daily Driver today.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Hello and welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for bearing with us as we stepped away for just a 90-second break. In the middle of things, we're going to come to you live from the racetrack. That is qualifying underway in the background, and time for the standings from our Formula 4 Pro Series as well. Damon Woods has led the way all but every race I think we've seen this season. I don't think there's been a moment where he hasn't had the number 1 next to his name in terms of championship standings. But the guy that sits second in the championship, Zach Rattray White, is just driving everything exceptionally well at the moment. Sits second in terms of the standings. Ben Roberts has managed to climb back, take some good results, but Kane Ryder's been right there to challenge him most of the way through. Job Stewart sits a distant 5th spot at the moment, but comfortable in space that he's in. Burst from Becker is a tight little battle as well. Keep an eye on that one as the championship continues to progress. And then it's just 2-point gaps all the way down to 10th spot, where our new Australian Formula Ford champion, Eddie Beswick, has just recently taken out that title. And, well, whilst he might have the talent in the real world, have a look at how far down the standings he sits in terms of the sim. And for you, ladies and gentlemen, sitting along at home, you could be out there racing along with all of our national champions as well, and potentially one day earn yourself the opportunity to go and collect a prize from Motorsport Australia's Night of Nights. Damon Woods is already off to pick himself a Formula Ford Australian Championship trophy up from the awards night for Motorsports Australia. Could he be picking himself up too and taking a Formula 4 title along with that one is the question we ask ourselves as the season progresses here, Dave.
Yeah, I've got to say, I'm going to give Eddie a bit of a boost here. Fantastic to see him win the Australian Formula Ford Series, but he obviously gave that serious priority over his sim racing. You know, it's great to see him get the just reward for doing that. So congratulations, Eddie. Really appreciate that you come along here and sim race as well, on top of what you've been achieving during the year in Formula Ford. So excellent job. But you now need to knuckle down and haul in this bloody Damon Woods bloke. He's a bit quick.
Yeah, with the real world commitments out of the way, time to really set your sights on the open wheels on iRacing. Meantime, keeping an eye on a few drivers. Ben Roberts has just shot to 3rd place on the timing tree. That one's only just happened. There's quite a few drivers up and down the field at the moment. Kane Ryder sits in 10th spot, a lot further back than necessarily would have liked, but at the moment Banerjee's actually doing quite well for this qualifying session as well. He sits just outside of the top 10, I think 11th as it currently stands. Deeper in the field. I'm just taking a quick look. I don't think Job Stewart is actually with us this week. I have a feeling that might be because
no, and I think Kobe Williams is missing as well.
And we've had an update at the top end of the timing sheets, and it's the man who's just coming off the back
Awesome.
of iRacing Bathurst 1000 top split victory. Zach Rattray White for Vermilion Sim Sports moves his way all the way to the top of the tree, which means Damon Wood had better find some speed and put a lap time down. I tell you what, Eddie Beswick's not doing well at the moment. It's 25th in terms of the timing charts, but that might be because he's had a few too many celebratory brews. Who knows?
Well, he as winning the Australian Formula 4 Championship. One thing he has got, he's got a test day with the Shell Dick Johnson Racing Team V8 Supercar test day. So he'll be out testing one of those shortly, which would be a good bit of fun, I reckon.
Now you'll get to drive the Gen 3 car before the rest of us in the simulator will, so that'll be very, very cool. And be one of the few people who can give us, what's it like to jump in, strap in, and drive one of those for the first time. You'll be the best equipped to give us that inside information. Caelan Shin on a lap at the moment, 21.365. I believe he manages to improve, but he's now 0.02 of a second behind Ben Roberts as it currently stands. And did Zach Rattray White just go fastest lap into fastest lap?
Yep.
He just improve a touch once again, so he's continuing to find speed.
Caleb Hyde's up to P2.
It's now starting to find some speed.
I do really enjoy this open qualifying in the Pro Series, Scott, where we're seeing them, the fastest laps come across the line and punch out another fastest lap. It's so much more exciting from viewers' point of view, from a spectator point of view, than lone qualifying. But it's cool. I like it.
The other benefit is that qualifying does get to continue well past the end of the session. If you're on a lap when that timer runs out, you get to finish the lap. After that timer runs out, Chris Mitchell, I can see, is coming to the line at the moment. Both Charts is in the final couple sectors as well. Mitchell didn't improve on that most recent... No, did improve, I believe, on that most recent lap, but didn't improve very far in terms of the standings. Vaughan Wright is about to come across the line, as is Jordan Mazzaroli. Looks like Mazzaroli did improve by 1/10 of a second. He jumped one spot. Somebody off down the first sector as well, so they're just about done. Chris Mitchell, I've just seen, supported the lap that he's currently on, picked up an incident point in the middle part of the lap. Zach Rattray White getting a little bit of a toe at this point in time. This might be an improvement on the lap. 9.28 does improve.
And he does.
0.07 of a second, so...
He's just whittling away at that time, just whittling away, trying to put it out of reach of Damon Woods. But, we'll see if that's possible. No, Damon doesn't go quicker.
Very, very close to the lap timer that he previously set.
I'm not sure about that Frankenstein livery. How do you feel about that, Scott?
It shows his allegiances to both teams, is the way that you like to look about it. There's an Australian group of buddies that he loves to race with, and then he also has the opportunity to represent at an international level as well. And that's the uniqueness of it. It's difficult, and I can understand that as one of the few people who races multiple different disciplines. I race for an American team and I race for an Australian group as well. I want to represent both.
I get all that. Still, what does it look like? Frankenstein.
It says what it needs to say. It says that I support both teams, right? It doesn't have to look... Caelan Shin at the moment is setting the timing charts alight, coming to the final sector as well. One more turn left to navigate for him. We'll use all the rumble strip on the inside. Transitions the car to the outside. So pace
currently in 6th.
From Chin. Does he get below the 20s? He does not. 21.235. Is that good enough to improve? No, it doesn't improve him in terms of things as well. And it doesn't even improve his fastest lap. Misses out by 0.02 of a second. So very, very tight. This will be his final chance of the qualifying lap, though, because he crossed that line probably just in. Oh, you might get one more. He will be on the fringe, so he will get one more. This group of guys...
Goes Rattray White again.
start one more flying lap. Sebastian Vandel's the car that's just in behind Dylan Burse at the moment. Does he improve? I believe Vandel did actually improve with that lap, 21.243. So this will be the start of these guys' final flying laps of the session. And you can see Burse working the rear end of that car as it comes unstuck from underneath him. Vaughan Ryder deeper in the field than he would really love as well. So an opportunity for Vaughan to get down and through the final couple of corners, experience some traffic at an inopportune time. That is open qualifying though. That is going to happen, particularly on a 1 minute and 20 second lap. You're going to run into a car about every couple of seconds. So Kane Ryder
up to third. That's a really nice little move from him.
Good time.
Vaughan crosses the line. Can Vaughan improve?
Vaughan Ryder is going to improve, so improvement from him, and that might be the end of the session. There's 8 more seconds left to run. Zach Rattray-White on the run back down through the final sector. That might be an off-track incident point. He might have got away with that one just. He is going to complete the lap either way. Out of the final corner, gets the drive, allowed to use the AstroTurf at the exit of the final corner. Has it cost him time? Does he get into the 1 minute 20s? He does, and he does improve the time. Does it count? No, it doesn't. Yes, it does. Yes, it does.
913.
So he improves by a couple hundredths of a second. I can see Damon Woods did improve on that final lap for him, but it wasn't enough to take away pole position. So we have a new driver taking away pole position here tonight. Will not be Damon Woods. And that is a big, big story coming out of this one.
What's interesting there is we've seen Rattray-White take 2, 3 or 4 lap times where he's just whittled away at that fastest lap, whittled away. But what it also says is he is comfortable at running that sub 21 second lap over a number of laps. So that looks really, really good for the race.
How about Damon Woods this time though? 21 dead. So
yeah, wouldn't that annoy you?
Really, really bother you. Either way, hasn't managed to get that one to come through in the session. Kalen Chin's in the final sector. He will be one of the final lap drivers to have a crack. Just fended the pit lane.
Oh, Danny Davis way wide.
We'll do the same. I'll take an opportunity to practice a pit lane entry. There is one more driver out on track. It's Mitchell Albert, and he's not moving at the moment. So
well, that's not looking pretty.
So
Chris Mitchell way out of position. Like last week, he was what, P4 on the grid, and he's down like 23rd or something this time. Chris will be very, very disappointed about that.
Work to do, unfortunately, and a track where it is quite difficult to overtake. Mitchell Albert takes the pit lane. Ladies and gentlemen, qualifying is now in the books. There is no one on a flying lap, and this is what the standings will look like. For the first time this season, Damon Woods is not on pole position. Zach Rattray-White manages to take that one away. Has been putting so much work into the sim of late, and it's really starting to pay off. Damon Woods will start on the front row. Did not get moved back to row number 2. I can tell you, row number 2, though, is going to be Kane Ryder and Caleb Hydes, exceptionally close in behind as well. So a couple new names popping towards the top end of things. And then we will get an onboard shot from the iRacing safety car, which is good to see in the background.
We're coming back. We're coming back.
Rattray-White from Damon Woods is your front row. Row number 2 is going to be Kane Ryder from Caleb Hydes. Both of these drivers exceptionally close together. Was only about 0.02 of a second separating these guys, but they're over 1/10 of a second from pole position. And row number 3, when we get there, will be Ben Roberts from Kalen Chin. We're just having a look at a couple of liveries and getting those reset for you. And Kalen Chin will be off alongside of him. Have a look at that, 0.02 of a second separating the spots on row number 3. Row number 4 is going to be Sebastian Vandel. Finally managed to find some speed for the Carter out of that one. Dylan Burse will line up off alongside of him. 0.09 of a second on that row. Row number 9th and 10th is going to be Tyler Kaleha from Denny Davis, and you saw Denny out and in the weeds on that final attempt at a qualifying lap. Ruined that one, unfortunately, for him. Byron Phillips and Rishab Banerjee. Banerjee manages to set a reasonable lap time just outside of the top 10. Row number 6 for him. Row number 7, though, Chris Mitchell, you said it wasn't potentially going to be too happy with that qualifying lap. A little bit deeper in the field than he necessarily would have liked. Isaac Becker will start off alongside of him. Corey Bennett and Seth Burcharts are going to be off of row number 8. Row number 9 will be Geordie Slater and Hayden Millington. Before we get back to the final row inside of our top 20, which will be Vaughan Ryder from Mitchell Albert. First driver outside the 20, he'll be a little bit disappointed with his qualifying effort. Chase Saxill, Jordan Mazzaroli will line up alongside of him, and they will be a little bit deeper in the field on the run down of 10 number 1. Callum Newton from Eddie Beswick deeper in the field as well. off of the 12th row of the grid. And the final row on the grid here tonight, Thomas Donoghue and Alex Wilson, 26 starters here for the Formula 4 National Championships for FRG and Motorsport Australia. I can tell you, lights are going to come on at the front end of the field. We are into the starters' hands in this one. Lights are going to come on. We'll be green flag racing here in a few moments. First pole position that's gone the other way, that hasn't gone the way of Damon Woods, and he's going to be forced to come to the inside, is Zach Rattray White on the run down at turn number 1, looking to go the long way around. Kane Ryder going to get away, as did Ben Roberts as well. So Roberts is going to try and slot back in, see if he can pick up a couple of spots, and Caleb Hydes has gone absolutely nowhere. I think there's been an issue for Hydes. No, he has dropped all the way down to the 9th spot, so he's dropped a fair way in the first couple of corners, so he is not going very well at all.
I did notice that he was slow off the line, Scott, so he didn't quite get that jump, whether he was in the wrong gear or who knows, but he certainly didn't get that jump off the grid.
Well, he'll now have some work to do for the number 92. As he tries to set his right back on fire. 30 minutes and a pit stop to come, and Hydes is wide on the run through the kink, on the run up to the corkscrew as well. There's a few drivers I've seen trying to go side by side. I believe Sebastian Vandel and Caleb Chinnigan go side by side on the run down the corkscrew, and they will go side by side. Vandel's gone the long way around on the run of the corkscrew, picks the spot up. Burst is now going to try and go around the outside of Caitlin Chin as well. And lap number 1 presents opportunities, but side by side through the corkscrew takes bravery before a two-story drop.
Yeah, all the Eclipse boys, they're all fighting between themselves, not doing each other any favours by the looks of it. But Vandel made a good little move there, and he's up into 5th place and chasing down Ben Roberts now. And Ben Roberts and Damon Woods, they are world-class competitors. They both have world-class rankings. They're I believe, like iRacing pros they're considered now. So bloody awesome to see. Kane Ryder, good as Kane. He's come out of nowhere, come out of our Formula Ford series, jumped in here, and he's running at the front of the pros in F4. What an awesome thing to see! Come on, Caleb. Come on.
This is what happened to Caleb Hydes.
Yeah, didn't get off the line.
Second phase of the start. His initial launch was okay, and then it's like he dropped off throttle or something.
Or is that an issue with the dual clutch?
Yeah, maybe either way. Whatever the issue was.
This is a big issue here.
Yeah, once again.
Very much lost.
Tyler Kalea trying to settle himself down in and get his head switched on for the race. Caitlin Chin's just run very, very wide as they come off of turn number 10. Down into 11 to finish off the lap.
Got to be very careful of those little red bollards on the bollards, bricks, whatever they are on the apex of the corners here at Laguna Seca. They're quite solid, quite serious, and if you happen to catch one at the wrong time, you can really set the car on a light and set it into a low orbit of the atmosphere.
Just lifts the front up, and then you've got no potential to try and steer the car, and potential rip the hole in your wing in the under tray, and effectively ruin the night. But for Damon Woods at the moment, just trying to go with Rattray White, make sure they stay very close together. Doing a reasonable job. A little bit of a dip of a tyre into the sand on the entry and the exit for Damon Woods. Just struggling to get the car to grip up at the apex of the kink in turn 6. And this difficult balancing act as they fall down through the corner.
Oh, I thought that was Vandel wide there.
Indeed it was, and now
2, 3. He's about to drop 4, 3. I'm going to go 3 lane that one. Yeah, got 3 spots. He's dropped.
Caleb Hydes will pick up one more spot, try to get that one up. Now he's forced to cover it as they get down towards the final corner. Does manage to hang on to that one. Vandel wide in the final corner. Doesn't quite get the ride. Byron Phillips is going to be on the inside of him. They're both chasing the ride to the inside of the track. And the problem for Vandel is he is boxed in a huge old group of Eclipse Simsport cars, and he's going to be on the outside when they get down here to the Andretti hairpin. Tries to lock it back down in. Kalea was thinking about having a run at him, and he just had to let that one go. or it would have been more than one car yet again. And we'll get the replay of how he ended up in that situation as well.
One little mistake there and he dropped 4 positions, Scott. That just shows you how easy it is to end up out of position.
And Tyler Kalea has just had a moment out of that battle pack as well.
And there's 3 wheels on it.
And that will be the end of the night for him as well. I get the feeling that's going to need a replay. I just heard tyres squealing as we cut away to the replay to have a look at what happened to Vandell. Oh, is there going to be contact with Denny Davison in here? No, lost it on his own.
Might have been a tad of net code.
Either way, Kalea's day is done. Much more you can really say about that one.
No, the result is what the result is. Now, I'm seeing them 3-4 abreast into that last hairpin as well. Back in the field, it's pretty wild.
Remember he qualified all the way up about 12th. He's now sitting 16th on the road as he gets to the inside of Hayden Millington and Geordie Slater just ahead. We're duking it out to the run of the final corner. Now there's going to be an opportunity for him to get down the inside at turn number 1. No, there won't be an opportunity as it runs out of room on the exit. Now he has to hold off Corey Bennett, who's going to try and go around the outside at turn 3 as well. Good offensive, good defensive driving from the entire group in that one.
And good respectful driving, Scott. Nobody laid a wheel on anybody. Everybody gave each other room. But boy, they were taking it to the nth degree, being competitive. But good fair driving.
Got to be though. If you're not taking every opportunity, pinch and squeeze somebody else is going to use that room to make speed. This day and age. This is a list of drivers that are on the improve. Byron Phillips +3, Beckers +3, Bert Schatz and Geordie Slater. All of those drivers +3. No one has managed to go before spot, such as the difficulty level and overtaking and the early stage of the race. Coming up on 7 minutes in the book as well. And I can confirm for you, Tyler Kalea is done for the day. Has just left the server. New fastest lap of the race for Caleb Hydes. Says that he is feeling quick as he closes in on Dylan Burse and Kalen Chit ahead of him.
So the racecraft boys in Mitchell's up to Chris Mitchell's up to 12th and Chase Axel in 18th. That's not a bad effort from where they were on the grid. They've sort of held the position, made a couple, but certainly not on song tonight like they normally are.
Could be car setup, could be anything realistically. Keeping an eye on Mitchell at the moment. I can say he's not looking too shabby. Only carrying nice corner speed at the moment, trying to close down Isaac Becker. Becker has got Vandell and Danny Davison, so Sebastian Vandell's lost more spots as well. Danny Davison's managed to find his way on through. So he's going backwards in a real hurry after all the opening lap heroics for Sebastian Vandell.
And now we're following Chris Mitchell here, who's got Seth Burchard. Right there. Oh, now we're on Chase. Chase Axel there now with Alexander Wilson right on his tail, but Mitchell really had Burchard right under the wing, he did. So both those boys under serious fire.
This is going to be a move. Saxfield gets a run and goes up the inside on the run into Corkscrew. Has to catch a slide at the crest of the hill as well as the car became unloaded, but gets the job done and hangs on to the spot.
Nice job. It was sort of fairly committed there with the sideways over the top.
Gotta be. If you are not committed, you're not driving hard enough as somebody else will be. Right to the limit of the grip.
Really putting some pressure here on Ray White. And, so far, Zach has been more than man enough to handle the pressure. But there's certainly filling his mirrors.
Probably two of the eminent figures in a whole bunch of different classes worth of sim racing Australia at the moment. There's certainly some drivers that can lay claim to being better supercars drivers than both of these two, but none that can claim to their success across a number of different cars, varieties, disciplines in name it, these two are going to work at the moment. And right up there in
wide in the background.
Sim races in Australia, and who was that? Was that
Alan Chin?
Again, it was wide at the final corner.
Super wide. And lost
Sneakily.
3 spots.
Run down at turn 1, they'll all lock it back in.
I thought he was going off to the local drive-thru to see if he could pick up a burger or something.
Just a pinch of a brake on the run here. Tipped it in and the rear end didn't want to respond.
Nope.
Such as the closeness of the field as well. So everyone just barrels on by. First pit stop of the night, Thomas Donahue was running at the tail end of the field. Uses the opportunity to come down. Get that pit stop done as early as he can.
Hopefully, maybe, if there's a safety car somewhere, pick up an advantage by being one of the few guys who's already made his pit stop. So, smart thinking by Donahue.
Do something a little bit different. I think that's the big old key. I think Ben Roberts just had a big old go at Kane Ryder as well and was forced to back out. So slowdown might have been key for Ben Roberts, which might have happened through the corkscrew as well if he's taking a slowdown through that section of track.
I think maybe 2.5 seconds back off those leaders, but what an impressive job he's done tonight. Really, really good. Here comes slowdown for Roberts. Yep, taking a little bit too much of that sand there on the left-hand side. Drivers.
You can tell the age of, unfortunately, this game of Laguna Seca, because that is now Astro turf runoff that you can use. Upgrades and updates to the circuit as time goes on. One of the difficulties, of course, of sim racing is getting those updates into the sim is not that easy. Because it's not as simple as just change the grip characteristics, change it over to a different surface type. No. You change something like that, it's a change over to the surface as well. An extra block that's added in accidentally.
All these tracks are living, breathing things, Scott, aren't they? They change weekly, and they add a bit of turf here or change a curb there, it's very hard to stay on top of all of that, especially if you want to keep it as accurate a scan as iRacing regularly do. It's very, very hard to accommodate all those small changes on a weekly basis.
I was actually talking to somebody who's down at Phillip Island and a part of the circuit down there the other day. And I don't know if you've seen the amount of cars that were off the circuit and the amount of water that was around at Phillip Island over the weekend for all the categories that were running down there. But they're only a couple of weeks away from MotoGP, and now they've got grass growing and circuit repair work to make sure that the circuit is in international standard in time for the MotoGP. So they've got race ahead of them to do that. Let alone you think about the Daytona road course as well. Every time they take not only NASCAR, but the Daytona 24 goes there for the road course races as well. Slight adjustments that are made to the chicane and the cement around curbing there.
So I was going to say, Phillip Island's a little out of date in itself. It's missing the bitumen runoff at turn 1 on the left, and the different curbs that have been installed. And they did quite a lot of work there about 12 months ago at Phillip Island. That's not in iRacing at the moment. It's minor stuff, and I don't want to be picky, but it's really, really hard to stay on top of that stuff.
Absolutely is, yep.
We're very lucky to have what we've got, and I must admit, every day I go on this thing, or every time I jump on, I think, God, how lucky we are. I wish I had this when I was 18.
Let alone announcements coming our way of the Adelaide circuit coming to us when iRacing gets down there to scan that as part of the Adelaide 500. All right, more pit stops coming our way. Seth Burchardt's going to fire into the lane, so looking to try and jump out of the queue if he feels he's got a little bit of pace that he can show, and he wasn't able to show it in the dirty air. Now he will get that opportunity. That might trigger a host of changes.
Yes, you've got to feel that Woods is sitting there hard on his tail, not really making a pass because it's a pretty hard thing to do, but he's
Sebastian
But,
Vandel continuing to fall back through the field and with more dramas as well. So this will be Danny Davis and Isaac Becker. So Becker was up there and having a go. And remember, Vandel was actually behind Danny Davis a couple laps ago.
Wow.
So-
Overhead view is interesting. It shows where the speed was lost on the exit there, doesn't it?
Yes, indeed. Very, very close together before it returned to all these guys. Vandel's going to earn that spot back, and Woods is still closing in on Zach Rattray White. Kane Ryder's all of a sudden got to look a little bit more in the rearview mirror. There's a bunch more cars that have arrived on the scene.
Yep.
Come off the red and white liveries as well as he looks in the mirror. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Been fairly controlled event so far, Scott. They've all sort of behaved themselves very much. We haven't seen too many issues or off tracks or what.
What have you done? What have you done, Dave Roberts?
I've done it again. Yeah. Anyway, it has been a fairly tame event so far. Banishade.
Going to jump to the line, and Alex Beswick is going to jump in to the lane as well. Byron Phillips trying to cut his way through at the moment. Does so on Caleb Hydes. That's a move. Whoa!
Oh, and that dispatched the fence. That's that one out of the race.
Oh, and he's on the racing line.
Oh, it depends whether they can move it.
No, the left rear is off that. He's going to have to tow.
We're going to get a safety car.
There is no way that does not trigger a safety car parked in the middle of the road.
Yeah,
After the king.
It was
Damon Woods has just managed to pick up the spot at the moment as well, so he gets to the point right at the critical time.
Oh. We'll get our director will be straight on that, try and find us that replay, how he pulled that off. I'm guessing it was up the corkscrew somewhere, or the run out of the corkscrew down the hill.
Well, interesting one for Damon Woods. Has managed to get this job done, and it's at a critical time. Gets good drive. He's close enough out of the final corner. Fires it to the inside on the run into turn number 1.
Yeah,
Late
it's
on the
turn
brake.
1.
And managed to hold the apex as well. Oh boy! Oh boy! Good thing Zach Rattray White recognised the slide was coming.
Wow. So the guys towards the rear of the field have been able to take their pit stop earlier than the guys at the front. Guys at the front went past pit exit before the safety car was really called. So they haven't taken advantage of it. So that may give an advantage to somebody back a little further, Scott.
Can I just say that Byron Phillips' rear wing, I think, is out to the clock tonight.
Either that or it's very old and it's got a little bit of, shake on.
And he has now returned back to the pit lane.
Look at this. Now here's Woods and White. Both come from pit lane, one behind the other.
But one of them has been in the other's draft for quite a number of laps, which means
Woods shot it.
top and does so. Just gets away with that one. I mean, nothing in this one when we rejoin our race, which will probably be at the tail end of this lap because there are no cars off the lead lap, and there is going to be a big old scrap for a bunch of these guys. Ben Robertson to go the long way around at turn 1, does not have the pit lane exit, loses a couple spots as a result.
Okay.
So, recommended action, ladies and gentlemen. Go around and check your rear wing before the race. Make sure that it is not a Taylor Swift fan, because shaking off is not what you want your rear wing to be saying.
Certainly had the shake on, didn't it?
So either way, Byron Phillips done for the day. Drivers that are on the move at the moment. Chase Saxhill +7 spots, sits in 14th at the moment. Callum Newton's grabbed a few spots.
And Chris Mitchell up to P10. That's good. That's good from where Chris started. I think those guys got a little advantage. I think they may have taken their pit stop before that yellow flag came out.
Yeah, the might be a few that's taking that advantage. And then it's a charge back around to the safety car as well.
A mean-looking safety car.
Safety car is going to be in at the end of this lap. And it might not be the Australian
Formula Ford Series? Yes.
Anymore, but on the side of that car, it certainly says the official Australian Formula Ford Series, which was an absolute pleasure to call. Racing was brilliant in that one. If you haven't witnessed that, strongly recommend you go back and do it. Of course, our race leader was the champion, but the racing was stout. Regardless, it's always good to see Formula Ford racing. You know, I replugged the sim back in yesterday after 2 months off. First car I jumped in, Formula Ford.
Yeah, it's a fun thing to drive, and it is in the real world too, Scott. It's lovely. A car without aero is so much fun to drive.
Yeah, the guys at Eastern Creek, actually, when I was learning, managed to get a little one at Eastern Creek, and they said, I got 2 sessions in, and they said, the first time I jumped out of it, what, you got any tips for the second set? They said, just stomp on that brake pedal. Absolutely stomp on it. You're not using enough brake. You're not using enough brake. I took their advice. I locked the brakes up the very next time I stopped doing it.
Well, you're not locking them. How do you know how hard you got to stand on them?
Yeah, but for somebody who doesn't own the car and doesn't have to repair it, and it's just going to get a big old bill in the mail.
Did you have fun?
Scary. I did have a lot of fun. I actually need to go and dig the footage out. I was looking at it the other day. I think I've got the USB just sitting in the corner of the room. I can pull out.
I see.
Damon Woods is holding the field, holding them, still holding them. He's going to hold them all the way to the line.
Holding them all the way.
Which is a good idea for him because it gives him a little bit longer. We're all getting out of the way. No one managed to make any contact on the tail end of the field. Woods is going to get underway just before they get to the start-finish line. Rattray White's managed to go with him. Kane Ryder did not time that getaway at all. Dylan Burse is right there, and Burse is going to try and slide down the inside. Digging on the brakes. Ryder tries to
he's in trouble.
close it off. Does manage to get down the inside, and by the time he sort of tried to close it off, Kane Ryder, well, Dylan Burse was already parked there. Chin's managed to get a couple spots back. Going to try and slide it down the inside of Ben Roberts, and they are really going toe-to-toe between these two guys. And Roberts will have to go around the outside. Oh,
it's gone.
Over. Oh, huge wreck. Huge
that's huge.
wreck.
I think we're going back to a safety car, I'm guessing.
74 and...
Callan Chin. Callan's had a couple of baddies. That was just unfortunate.
And Hayden Millington and Danny Davison are also included in that one.
Oh, no. Danny's had such a bad run in this series, and he doesn't deserve it. He is a good competitor, but, God, sometimes your luck just doesn't run.
It doesn't. I can tell you Millington's got a tyre off at the rear end of his car as well, so he's
and we're back to safety cars. Now, while we're back to safety cars, I was going to say something. I can't remember what it was now. Oh, look at that. Yeah, it was just that little touch. Oh, bang.
Danny Davison was out
That's
in the water.
Danny Davison. He was off track, wide. Danny, wrong place, wrong time, buddy. Really unfortunate. I'd love to have another good close look at that. I'm sure race control will be, pouring their hands all over that footage at the moment, trying to work out exactly what happened and whose fault it was. I'm not quite sure. Here we go. Let's have another look.
It's just tough racing. This is the
On board with Danny.
So he's ended up out in the weeds, and that's because he had somebody to his inside when he got here, and he's seen the smoke, tried to avoid it.
Oh, just shocker.
Well, in the Australian community, that's what you get for driving an Aston Martin paint. Lance Stroll fans are in the wrong country.
Are there? You're insinuating there are actually Lance Stroll fans?
I'm taking an opportunity to...
Well, he's more likely an Alonso fan than a Stroll fan, let's face it.
And this is what triggered it. And was there enough space left to the inside from Ben Roberts?
I think there was.
That's close. That is exceptionally tight. And that is very, very tight racing between the pair of them. And like you said, Ben Roberts is a world-class driver. Kalen Chin is a very, very good driver as well. They pushed that one to the absolute limit. And when you challenge somebody all the way like that, unfortunately, sometimes it does come unstuck. Well, ladies and gents, we are going to be back underway with 5 minutes left in our race here tonight as we're again circulating slowly down through the corkscrew.
That Callum Chin, Ben Robertson is now under investigation by race control. As I said, they'll be pouring all over that footage trying to work out exactly what happened. I'm sure that they will have an array of views of what happened and try and sort out a general consensus.
About Chase Saxfield at the moment, who sits in 10th spot, up 11 spots.
Nice job.
Now we wait because we will be back under racing speed in just a few moments. How long does Damon Woods hold them for? Last time he held them all the way to the line. He might do so again. He might go a fair bit earlier. Still holding them as they come out of the final corner. He is going to play the game up until the last possible moment. No, this time he's gone a fair bit earlier in his time. That race a lot better as well. Rattray White isn't going to get the toe he was necessarily looking for, and Dylan Burst is a significant amount closer as well. Burst shoved it down the inside on Kane Ryder at turn 1 the last time. He's not going to get that opportunity because Rattray White's not going to give him that opportunity this time. And the key is sometimes you can't leave the door open. He hasn't done so. Sebastian Vandel's back up inside of 6th place at the moment as well. Kane Ryder and Caleb Hydes are going to go toe-to-toe as both of them end up touching the sand on the outside of turn 3, run up through 4. And everyone crawling about on stone cold tires at the moment as all the temperatures coming back out of them. Mitchell's trying to close back down, see if he can't get a touch closer. And Vandel did not get a good drive through turn number 5, so he will make a touch worth of time.
Oh!
Couple cars out in the wing.
Wide.
Isaac Becker was another one of them wide at the turn 6 kick. And the run to the corkscrew after a restart. You've got to get yourself good drive. They've all managed to do so as they get through the corkscrew on the opening lap after the safety car. 3 minutes on the clock. We're going to get 3 laps, you feel. And I just see Seth Burchart's out in the sand once more. So everyone's making mistakes at the moment here, Dave. Pretty cool to get yourself settled after a restart.
Yeah, it is. It's pretty hectic out there because they're really close and it's getting towards the end. They know they've got one opportunity, so they're probably pushing things a little harder. That's
Zach Rattray White says he had an opportunity.
Rattray White down the outside of Woods.
Just keeping an eye a little bit further back. Geordie Slater, Corey Bennett, Callum Newton are also squabbling like you wouldn't believe on the run into turn number 1. It's Rattray White still trying to come back up with a race lead. Had it led a significant chunk of the race and then unfortunately lost it just before the safety car. What a time for Damon Woods to nick that one. Now he's going to run a touch wire. That'll present an opportunity for Rattray White to close.
Pushing it.
Not over yet. He's going to run wide.
Oh, look. There's Hyde's Hyde's burst. Very wide.
Rattray White continue to close, so there is nothing in it from these two at the front.
Yeah, burst very wide there, and I'm surprised he saved that. Because once you get out in the dirt, it's pretty hard to get it back, Scott.
Best opportunity is going to come down at turn number 1, but you've got to make sure that you get good drive off. Rattray White closed under braking, but just got checked up. Couldn't quite turn the car in. Now he's going to try and get the toe. And I get the feeling that little mistake on the entry to the last corner is going to cost him an opportunity. He was close enough. Now he's not. Will start to build the momentum, but it's just a touch too late. Oh, now Woods is going to pinch a brake. Nothing between this one. Forces Woods to cover him. This is perfect because now he's going to check up Woods. Woods is wide at the apex of 3. Rattray White is there. Not quite an opportunity to make the overtake right here, but if you can carry the momentum, neither of them step a toe off of the curbing. They were right to the limit on the run through 4.
Burst is sitting there going, I'm going to pick up the pieces if you guys get silly. You take each other out. I'm sitting here waiting to take a win.
Rattray White is closer than he was last time, and again Damon Woods picks up and loses a touch of momentum on the run up the hill through 6. There's going to be one more lap after this one. So one more time down through the Andretti hairpin. He's got to be close, and he is really close as they get to the corkscrew. Wood's got good drive off, though. Here comes the key fact of it. Can he keep the thing underneath him? Bobbles a touch as they come through the rainy curve. The run down to turn number 10 now as well. He's moving around a lot at the front end of that one. We look a touch further back. Vindel's trying to make some moves as well. Last opportunity to get good drive out of the last corner. Does so this time, Rattray White, but didn't quite get enough. And now comes the draft-breaking games. Dylan Burst trying to make some sort of inroads. Kane Ryder can't do much from as far back as he is. He's going to hang on to that one. The run down to turn number 1. Rattray White starts to close, but it's a touch too late. Just trying to fill that mirror. There was a lock-up from Woods at this point last lap. He doesn't make the same mistake 2 laps in a row.
Will somewhere around this lap, Rattray White just absolutely send it? I would. And I'd send it straight up the inside on one of those corners, probably up into the corkscrew or something. I would just send it. Because what do you got to lose? You don't want to finish second. You know, that's first loser. It's a win or nothing situation, and I reckon White can do this. Come on, baby. Send it.
He's just a touch too far back is probably the big key. He's lost a little bit of ground for the first sector. On the run up the hill, Woods has been wide the last couple of laps. They're both a touch wide, but it's a touch wider and a touch more momentum loss from Damon Woods. And he
got the run.
He is going to shadow him all the way. Just fill that mirror, and Woods is going to lock a break. They're both going to have a moment as they crest the top of the course to down through the ready curve. It's going to be the last corner. That will be the final opportunity. How wide does Woods run? It's going to be a little bit more momentum on the side of Rattray White. Don't think he's quite close enough. Who's going to run it wide here? Is he going to come the inside? Yes, he is. The inside. And now, late on the brakes as well, goes Dylan Burst trying to get the job done. Nobody's going to manage to come away with the spot, but it was tough, it was brave. They both made mistakes on the run to the final corner. And what a race to bring us home. Damon Woods from Rattray White from Dylan Burst. Run to the flag a little bit further back as well. It's going to go the way the car on the outside.
Oh, that looks like it's a broken rear suspension, I'm guessing.
Something's
Donahue?
Donahue was second last corner. Well, that was exciting.
Yeah, I really thought White was going to send it. Lick the stamp and absolutely mail it.
Chase Saxhill did manage to hang on to that top 10 spot as well, so he will maintain plus
Nice.
11 on the night. Chris Mitchell's home in 7th.
Oh, here we go. That's where the rear was broken. How unfortunate on that last lap. Oh, look at that. Car is Christmas.
Just brilliant, brilliant racing. Like we said, Cadwell Park to come next time out. New
Oh, gosh.
track
Have you
racing
driven that
surface.
place, Scott?
I have not. I don't own it as of yet. I haven't had an opportunity since it's come out. So,
Half of
winning
it
margin.
Half of it is super fast and narrow, and the other half is super slow and narrow.
So narrow right the way round. Damon Woods takes it by a narrow margin at the front end of things. Phenomenal race to bring things home. And we'll take the win as well. 177 of Zach Rattray White home in P2. Dylan Burst got an opportunity with how much they were fighting on that final lap to try and shove a nose in. Had a crack, didn't quite get there from Kane Ryder. Good to see him back and good to see him on form, 4th spot on the field. Caleb Hyde, Sebastian Vandel gained a bunch of spots on the opening lap and then fell a long, long way back. So a few mistakes for him. Mitchell managed a constant progression through the race. Seth Burchart's from Isaac Becker and Chase Saxhill rounds out your top 10. Your big mover on the night as well in 10th spot. He'll be happy with the 10th spot at the end of that one. Geordie Slater and Corey Bennett and Callum Newton had a phenomenal battle just back outside the top 10. They were squabbling like you wouldn't believe. We couldn't keep the eyes on them, unfortunately. Eventually, it brought Mitchell Albert back into that one, only 3/10 of a second back off of those two. Jordan Mazzarelli from Vaughan Ryder. Vaughan just not with the pace, unfortunately, here tonight. Alex Beswick from Alex Wilson. Risha Banerjee, he fell back a long waited Banerjee, unfortunately, and qualified quite well up in about 12th spot. Thomas Donahue did not finish the race, towing on the last lap of the race. We saw the issues with the suspension coming through the corkscrew, and here we get into the retirements, and there were 4 of them with 6 laps from the end. Ben Roberts, Kalen Chin, Danny Davis, and Hayden Millington all failing to make the end of the race. Byron Phillips was the earlier retirement from that one, and Tyler Kaleha had issues about 4 laps into the race, unfortunately, which would end his night as well. My word, ladies and gentlemen, that was fun. We're going to jump through our podium. We're going to start from the bottom step and work our way up. Driver finished in 3rd place here tonight out of the 68 for Eclipse Sim Sport is Dylan Burst. And Dylan, you got an opportunity on that last lap at the last corner, finally. And unfortunately, just not enough time to put something on the two guys ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I would have liked to be a bit closer throughout that last lap, so I had a bit more of a chance, but is what it is. Pace was lacking tonight. Quite lucky to get a podium. So, no, I mean, pretty stoked to come away with a third. End of the day, didn't quite have enough for the top two, so I'd let them have it. But yeah, no, pretty happy.
You guys had some work to do, unfortunately, after qualifying a little bit further down the field, but it was just a train of Eclipse Sim Sport cars all cutting their way through. Kalen made a mistake at one point, but Sebastian Varndell made one mistake, and 3 Eclipse boys drove straight by him. It's good running in a team like that sometimes, isn't it?
Yeah, no, it's great. I mean, having all us in comms together, working out plans, just sort of pushing forward, eyes forward, just doing big laps, trying to catch the group in front helps a lot. So, no, glad we could do that with our team and all the good drivers we had. So, yeah, it's good.
In terms of things, Cadwell Park is what's coming up for us next week. Very, very tight track, new to the service, so there's no doubt it'll work from. What's the planning look like for next week?
Oh, I'd probably just rock up maybe again, see what happens. But hopefully, I might actually try and do some practice because I don't really know where the track goes, but I'm sure we'll figure it out soon enough.
All right, mate. Well, the floor is all yours to give a shout out and thank you to anyone you'd like to thank here tonight.
Shout out to you guys, broadcast, F4A, making it happen. Shout out for Damo and Zach for the big last corner battle. That was mad. Shout out to Eclipse, all the boys in there, as per, working hard on docks, especially Damo, real MVP. Eddie Bestwick for just winning Formula Ford. That's pretty sick. Kobe Williams P2. I thought that was sick too. So, nice shout out to everyone in there. Hard work as usual.
All right, mate. Well, congratulations on another strong result here tonight. We'll see you again next week. And yeah, you better get some practice in. I think it's going to be a difficult one next week.
Yeah, no, it's an interesting little circuit, eh? But
yeah.
Cheers for that, mate. Appreciate it.
All right, mate. Good to see you, mate. See you again next week.
Sure.
We'll take one step further up in terms of the podium. He comes off of a big weekend of endurance racing where he picked up a big old Bathurst 1000 win after disconnecting very, very early on in the race. She was a tough old weekend. You wanted to come into Monday night with a nice, relaxed mindset. Didn't really get that opportunity, Zach. That was phenomenal racing.
Yeah, those Eclippo guys are pretty good to race against. They're, yeah, good fun.
In terms of things, it just seemed like you and Damon were just pushing each other to another level through about the last 5 laps there, and then you both sort of pushed a fraction too hard. You both made mistakes in the dying laps of that one, but it made it even better.
Yeah, I was, part of me was just happy to finish P2 and just give him the win, but, I mean, with the draft the way it is, you can kind of just get a bit of pace back, so felt like I could have got him, but I was just happy just to finish where I was at.
In terms of things, big, like we said, big old weekend for you. You don't get a long weekend. You don't get an opportunity to settle down and take a break at the moment. How wrecked are you and fatigued after tonight?
Honestly, not too bad. I got a good sleep in today, so yeah, today was an off day completely, so I could have done nothing, but chose to get off my ass and come here. And right after this, I'll be building a supercar dock for Bellal, so it doesn't stop here.
All right, mate. Well, the work never seems to stop with you in terms of sim racing. You are just in the sim just about every single day of the week at the moment. Ladies and gentlemen, Zach Rattray-White, who would you like to give a shout out and thanks to, Zach?
First off, Damo and Dylan. That was a good race at the end, and all of our sponsors as well. They really helped us out.
Mate, congratulations and good luck with building that setup for Detroit Bellal.
Thanks, mate.
And finally, we're going to talk to the man we talk to just about every single week of the season at the moment. He's on strength to strength, but you got challenged a lot there tonight. Zach just jumped in and said how much fun was that, how good was it to be in and be racing. He really pushed you to the limit, and there was a bunch of brake lockups from you both at different stages in that final run.
Yeah, Zach was super quick tonight. I know that he's quite fond of Laguna Seca, so he was always going to be tough to beat going into this event. But yeah, I just just kind of didn't try and get too fussed about him being in the mirrors and being right up me. But yeah, obviously we both made some minor errors at the end of the race there, but we made no contact and we had an awesome race.
In terms of things at the moment, you're putting so much work into this car, and you and Ben Roberts in particular out of the Aussies, challenging at that highest level. You only get 24 hours worth of notice to know what the tracks are and everything. How are you finding the added level of pressure and stress of racing with a world championship team, and with the world championship license? You got us talking about it each and every week at the moment. So,
I mean, World Championships has actually been quite fun for me. I'm not looking. I know I'm not going to be able to beat the Apex Racing team guys. They've got 7 versus 1 kind of thing. So I'm not going in there expecting to win every event and try and win the championship. I'm more just going in there to be competitive and try and expand my knowledge of racing at that kind of level. But it's been fun. Unfortunately, it's iRacing, contact model and netcode's always going to be a pain in the ass when you're racing internationally. But yeah, the experience has been really good. It's taught me how to try and control myself in high pressure quali situations, which is something that I've struggled with previously. So yeah, in the end, it's been a really good experience.
Mate, obviously doing incredibly well here. We're just talking about, you're off to the Motorsport Australia Awards night later on in the year as well to go and pick up the Formula 4 trophy. Are you enjoying the opportunity to potentially take a Formula 4 one with it?
I mean, yeah, as I said last round, I'm looking to try and go back to back and have 2 years in a row being at that at the awards night. It's pretty cool for esports to be recognised by Motorsport Australia and to be standing in front of so many greats of the sport at that night. As a kid that's just playing iRacing on his computer, so I can't really complain. Obviously, I'd prefer to be there for real world achievements, but in the end, it's still a national championship, so I can't really complain.
You get to be down there and celebrating with Eddie Beswick. I suppose that's the biggest key, isn't it?
Oh, I completely forgot about that. Yeah, Eddie's going to be there. That's going to be good fun.
Mate, well, congratulations on another race win here tonight. Who would you like to thank?
As always, got to thank the door crew. They've helped me out a lot. So yeah, big thanks to them and all their sponsors, and the Eclipse boys for always putting on a fantastic and entertaining Discord call during the race there. And big props to the FRG crew for always putting on a great event. So yeah, cheers, boys.
Mate, congratulations on the race win. We'll see you again next week. Cadwell Park. It is going to be a GOAT track, that is for sure. So we'll see you then.
Cheers, mate. Have a good one.
Ladies and gentlemen, that has been another round of the Formula 4 Australia Series. Dave, that was... I said it before the sport race. I don't think we're going to see all that many overtakes. Oh boy, we saw a few of them. I think we might have lost Dave Roberts, ladies and gentlemen. Well, that is going to bring us to a close here for FRG Formula 4 Esports Australian Championship. Like we said, next Monday night, the 14th of October, 8:25 p.m. Australian Eastern Daylight Savings Time. Remember that for all the states that aren't following Daylight Savings. This track is new to the service. It's tiny, it's twisty, and there's only a couple cars on the service that can actually go racing there. This is one of them. Have they got what it takes to take it to the British racing tracks? Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us once again for another broadcast on behalf of SimSpeed, on behalf of FRG. We'll see you again next Monday night.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head to head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Weekend in, weekend out, Motorsport Australia officials are making waves. From waving flags, waving cars through pit lane, or responding to a wave for help. Wave hello to new lifelong friends. Who knows, you might just make waves around the world. Ride the first wave. Search Motorsport Australia officials today.